Welcome to CPG Vibes. No scripts,
just chat.
I'm Alex Baer.
And I'm Wade Yenny.
Each episode is recorded live, and we talk all things food and beverage, and so much more.
Feel our vibe and search for CPG Vibes on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and make sure to give us a 5-star review.
If you'd like to sponsor our show with your product or service, email us at cpgvibes100@gmail.com.
Now, let's vibe.
All right, welcome to episode 148 of CPG Vibes. Hope everyone is doing well out there. We are back after a 2-week break. So we did a show, I think, Wade, right before Christmas. That was our Outside the Tank episode. And then we took the week of Christmas off, and then we're just like, you know what? We're feeling good. We're going to take another week off, which is right after New Year's Day, which I think was well-deserved by both of us. We worked very hard in 2024, probably harder in 2025. But Wade, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm
Happy
doing good.
New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. There's obviously a lot to talk about. And Alex, I think for the second, maybe third time in the near 3 years I've been in North Carolina, I visibly see snow. And I know that's not anything close to what you're seeing or smelling out there, but my driveway is currently covered with snow, which is a rarity here. So but I'm doing good.
Awesome. Well, we have a lot to talk about. Originally when we created this episode earlier in the week, we were going to talk about predictions for 2025, and hopefully we'll still get to that. And also our 3-year anniversary at CPG Vibes. And also this episode has been sponsored by Melting Forest. And they have their product on the back wall. It's a functional mushroom drink. And it's just has wellness, vibrant taste, very tasteful, truly functional power of mushrooms. And health should be fun. They created products that really are about fun packaging, flavorful taste, and functional benefits. So it's an energy line, and they also have a de-stress line. We're going to have David Martin on at the 45 mark to talk about the product more and the mission. He's the chief revenue officer, I believe, if I have that correct. So this show really is with everything that's gone on this week is shifting to the discussion. And I guess the first and foremost, I know a few people that personally lost their homes in this fire in the Palisades. One who's, and these are the ones that are posting publicly. I won't talk about the people that have not posted, but Max Bauman, CEO of Base Makers, lost his home. Mark Rampolla, the co-founder of Zico, I just saw the post 54 minutes ago. He lost his home. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm thankfully, thank God, me and my family, we are not near. Well, we're near the fire, but we're not in harm's way, I should say. We're about 35 miles south. We're personally in Redondo Beach, Torrance area, about 7 miles south of LAX. So, but we see it, we smell it. Hard to breathe. Hard to, your eyes are stinging. Everything's stinging. Hard to be outside, hard to walk around. And so this fire hit, for those that everyone's been reading the news, it hit on Tuesday. That's when I think it sparked. And in 2 short days, I'm looking at the fire.ca.gov. It looks like there's 36,000 acres that burned. There's now 20,000 acres in the Palisades. This is as of a few minutes ago, as we're taping this on Friday, January 10th. There's also the Eden Fire, which these are all areas that religiously that, I would go to with my family, or whether it's Malibu, Palisades, Eden Canyon, which is in Pasadena. My mother-in-law, my wife's mom and my wife's brother, they're in Pasadena. But thankfully, Pasadena is so big that they're about 5-6 miles south of it, so they're just sheltering in place. So we can talk for hours on this, but needless to say, we have 6 different fires that have broke out, ones that are enormous, others that are smaller but still dangerous. and it's a really difficult situation. We're actually going to be evacuating shortly after this episode, not because the fire is near, but because just the air quality is so bad. So we're going to be relocating to somewhere south, probably close to Carlsbad, San Diego, away from the fire, just so we can breathe and have good quality air. But needless to say, absolutely devastating. Um, there are no words. There's no words for this. It's
Yeah,
truly,
truly,
truly sad.
truly catastrophic. And I think obviously stay safe there yourself, and got to do what's best for your family. I know I spoke to some people yesterday that I know personally that um, lost homes, and then also some people that kind of the same situation you're in with regards to air quality. Just a terrible situation. And unfortunately, from all accounts, it's going to be continue over the next week. With some expected winds, it sounds like coming back in early next week. So doesn't sound like there's going to be any relief from that for a while. So hopefully, people stay safe, and like you're doing, just get out of there to keep the air safety and quality, and do everything they need to do to protect themselves and their family. Possessions, well, important, and whatnot. That's the least of your concerns right now. It's to take care of your loved ones and each other. So
Yeah, it's apocalyptic is really you're exactly right. Apocalyptic is really the description. Max Bauman, an individual who lost his home, he posted a video driving through the Palisades, and I obviously not going up there, not going to go anywhere near there. Won't see it for probably about a month or so until there's cleanup, right? But I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Just driving through the street, it looked like like they say in the news, like a bomb went off,
war zone. Yep.
burned to the ground. Just terrible. And even I even have not only friends, I have even stores that I deliver to up there, right, that are gone. And then in Altadena, which I didn't even see that one coming. There's family close to there, and then obviously I have some accounts that I also deliver to there. So we'll see what happens. We're gonna visit these areas in a few weeks and just do some recon. But the big thing that I've noticed is the resilience of the people that have lost their homes. Like their walk away, their takeaway is, it's terrible and it's stressful that we lost our homes and our possessions, but you can bring back, if you lose a possession, you can bring that back. If you lose a human life, you cannot bring that back. So it's truly inspiring to see that people are, um, people are looking at the positive perspective despite how hard it's been for them, and that's really that shows how strong these individuals are. So it's
Yeah.
very inspiring.
Yeah, and I know we didn't talk about. I know Gelson's lost his store completely, and I
Gelson's,
believe I believe a Ralph's too, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was a Ralph's.
Ralph's, and
Yeah,
Erewhon in the Palisades.
I didn't see confirmation that did is that gone or
I didn't get full confirmation, but I looked at where the fire is on the map, on fire.ca.gov, and Erewhon is right in that downtown area, right near the Gelsons, right
Mhm.
near the Vons, and all those, that whole area. I would imagine is gone, but
Mm.
no confirmation yet.
Yeah, but you're exactly right. The resilience, I've seen a lot of GoFundMe's, and people are being very generous with their giving. I've seen multiple CPG brands, working with regards to donations for samples and food. I've seen things with regards to brands offering free fills and things like that to when the stores get back up and running, and just an over outpouring of giving and just offer of support and all that. So I think, to your point, it speaks volumes to the resiliency and just the generosity of the community and everybody trying to do something to help each other. So that's great.
Definitely. Yeah. And I don't know if you mentioned it, but also like just products being donated to the
Yep.
firefighters. I know that Riot Energy, big shout out to Steve and Laura, that they donated a bunch of energy drinks. Their power plant, power, plant-powered
Plant-based.
energy drink,
Yeah.
plant-based. I'm
One of
trying to
my
think.
favorites, by the way. I love that energy drink. Love it.
Yeah, I remember when you were at Jimbo's, like they
Yep.
were really supporting Jimbo's when you were there. So they're doing that, and one of my clients, which will be launching a crowdfunding campaign called Rich Nuts. It's like sprouted
Yep.
nuts.
I know
Uh,
Tim.
yep.
Or no, not
So
Tim. Tim, I'm thinking somebody else. I'm thinking
uh,
somebody else. But I know we carried Rich Nuts at
Jimbo's
oh,
or something.
Jimbo's or the Fresh Market. One of the two. I know that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very premium product.
Very premium, like
Yep.
$10 a bag. They're
Yep.
sprouted.
Yep.
And yeah, so he was a firefighter for Malibu for like 15, 20 years. And he also was not a first responder, but he went out there to 9/11 for cleanup within a few days after that event. So that tragedy. So he's I'm sure I haven't talked to him, but I'm sure he's going out there to donate plenty of nuts to the firefighters, all the people that he knew and that he knows, and everyone on the front lines there. So yeah, everyone's coming out in spades to help, and we'll get through it. But it's I can't put words into it. So shifting right to I think a few things. Number one, the 3-year anniversary, pretty amazing.
It is.
What are your if you had to sum it up in a paragraph in this couple sentences, what are your thoughts on our 3-year journey here at CPG Vibes?
Well, it's it just gets my head rolling because it's a number of things, right? Because I think of what I was doing 3 years ago, and I was sitting in the conference room next to my little area at Jimbo's. They have a bullpen scenario there where all the buyers sit, and I used the conference room directly behind us for that first show, and did it live there on Friday mornings. We were, I think, it was Friday Vibes then, of course. And I think we were doing it like 8 o'clock a.m. I think was our start time, 8 o'clock Pacific. So it was in the morning, and I said in my post this morning, I don't know, is it an anniversary? Is it a birthday? I don't know what it is. It was born. I don't know that we got married, so I don't know that's the anniversary. So it's a birthday, anniversary, what have you. But my goodness, 148 episodes in 3 years, and with a few exceptions. I know we've had you've missed an episode, maybe two. I know I've missed several. We've had countless amazing co-hosts, guests. And I think what registers with me is, as I look here, Kenny's in the chat right now. Gavin's in the chat, and I know for a fact Kenny was watched the first episode. I think actually he actually mentioned that in the chat, that he remembers that first episode. And by the way, we'd be remiss if we didn't congratulate Kenny, who received a promotion, I believe, since we last were on the air. I don't know if it was public knowledge before.
Saw it on LinkedIn.
Last episode. Yep. Gavin has twins. You've had a child. I mean, I've moved across the country again. And since that time at Jimbo's, I've left. I moved to North Carolina, worked for the Fresh Market, received a promotion at the Fresh Market, left the Fresh Market, worked for V Driven. I mean, you obviously in your business, your world's completely changed between fatherhood and what you're doing now. So it's been a pretty crazy 3 years. But one thing's consistent, Alex, we're still here on Fridays.
Still here on Fridays, and the spirit of the original name of Friday Vibes, right? We are instilled with that, which is why we're on Fridays. But in that rare case, we're not on a Friday. That's why we renamed it, rightfully so, to CPG Vibes. We're really well said. And also Kenny promoted to Director of Merchandising Natural Living. I'm looking at it here in December 2024. So from Senior Category Manager to Director. So congratulations, Kenny. And yeah, you said a lot of things that I'll echo without saying it. But I really want to thank, and we want to thank just the fans, the people that are tuning in every week, posting comments, all the sponsors that we've had, whether it's the back wall, whether it's the weekly episodes, whether it's the ongoing sponsors such as My Way 3PL, Range Me in the past. Robert Kogan, right? I just talked to him a couple days ago. Thank you. Just want to acknowledge you for not only sponsoring us but just being a true friend, a really great guy, always checking in with us, always texting, and truly caring about other people. and that really shines through when you're taking care of your brands as well
Right.
in Canada, and you're just excellent at it. So for anyone who wants to bring their brand into Canada, free plug for Robert and Powerful Energy Distribution.
Well, one word I'd use to describe him too is passionate, right?
Passionate,
Passionate,
100%.
passionate, and that's a positive. That's a positive.
He should rename his company to Passionate Full Energy. You
There
know,
you go.
so thank you to all of our sponsors, all of our fans, everyone tuning in. Some people have never missed an episode, or if they have missed it live, they've went on Apple Podcast or Spotify to catch up on it. I have stories, Wade, where people literally are driving on a road trip, like they're in CPG and they're driving to or from Texas or to and from Florida, and they're doing a across the country road trip, and they've listened to like 100 episodes
Oh
or
my
all of them,
goodness.
like just back to back to back, which is impressive that they could stand us, let alone me, for that long without going crazy while driving. Listening to our, my rambling nonsense. You make a lot more sense than me, Wade. So I won't say who it is, but he's a great entrepreneur. He has a beverage, and he literally, when I first met him, he's like, "Yeah, no, I literally would drive from pick up machinery or something, and I drive halfway across the country and listen to like 50 episodes in a row, and I got so much out of it. Like I loved it." So those stories, like that's the payoff on why we do what we do.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, we obviously have sponsors, and we're very appreciative of that, and certainly that helps keep things moving in a number of ways. But beyond that, I mean, this always has been about community and about kind of our way of giving back, and it's certainly not just us. I mean, I say this all the time to anybody that either hasn't tuned in, or they're like, oh wow, you have a podcast. And I'm like, yeah, I said, but it's podcast. When you think about podcasts, it's the audio. It's not typically what happens here on Fridays. And so like that's where the magic happens, right? Everything that's going on in the chat right now, there's kidding, there's community, there's back and forth, there's all this, this culture that has really kind of been, only grown since day one. It was there day one, and obviously the audience was much smaller then, but the fun happens here on Fridays, as we interact with those that are in watching us live and listening, contributing. People like Gavin and Kenny and Robert and Allison and Hugh and Jeff, and I'm probably missing people that are here now live, but I mean that's where the fun is.
Allison Clay.
Yeah, yeah, that's where the fun is, right? I mean that's where it happens. But yeah, I mean we've done the YouTube. We've done, I mean, my goodness, we've done live shows at Expo.
Mm-hmm.
I've done shows. I don't. Without looking, I know there's been a number of states that I've done the show from. When I've
Yeah.
been traveling, to California, to food shows, to vacation, time off, and things like that. I've done it from a number of states. I think you've done it on the road. If memory is, maybe you've done it from your car a time or
Done it from
two.
from
It's
the
just,
Tesla, done
yeah,
it from hotel rooms, done it
yep.
from Disney World. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's truly been a crazy time. But yeah, I think it's been all about that. And it's funny, someone asked me this week, when they found out, oh, I didn't know you had a show. That's great. I'm going to check it out. And what episodes would you recommend? And I think what's great is that you can kind of, whether you go back on Apple Podcasts, the descriptions are there, topics that are there, and sometimes, and today might be one of those times where the topic says predictions for 2025. I don't know how far we'll get into that. Third year anniversary, birthday, whatever you want to call it. But being able to go back and look for a specific topic, we've talked about supply chain, we've talked about brokers, we've talked about, category reviews, we've had buyers, brokers, we've had salespeople, we've had founders, we've had celebrities, we've had, I mean, just the list goes on and on and on. You think of some of the names we've had and people that have been on the show. It's just, amazing. Yeah, it's really, sometimes, and I'm sure whether or not we want to admit it, you can agree to this. Sometimes it's like, oh shit, we've got another show to do. You know what I mean? It's just like, you're busy, you've done so much during the week, and you've worked so many hours, you want to see your wife and child and all these different things. And but at the end, whenever push stop recording, leave studio, whatever the hell you push, when the show ends, it's kind of like, it's worth it, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's worth it, just to do what we do.
100%. Really well said. So usually I can one up you, but I cannot and will not one up you on that one.
Mhm.
So Robert Kogan, the benefits and organic connections that this community has yielded can be referred to as priceless. I would agree with that. Hugh Curtis, spirit of community. So very thankful for y'all, and that's really what it's about. Just providing a value back to everyone here that's listening in. I started Genius Juice, mm, 10, almost 11 years ago, and I learned so much. Wade, who has more years on me, being, at Rouse's, Jimbo's, Fresh Market, owning his own restaurant business, right? And then now with V Driven, kicking ass there. Um, your knowledge set is so vast, and mine too, in different areas as well, that we want to share that knowledge with you, no holds barred. Like, just share it all so you can get as much information and value as possible when running your own business or when you're doing what you're doing, whether you're in sales, whether you're in operations. And that's really that's what we strive to do. And the feedback we've gotten, that people are responding saying thank you, I've gotten a lot of good information, or you saved me from a grenade, right, or a landmine of making a mistake. So I think, you know the beauty of the show, Wade, has always been as well that we approach it from two different sides,
Right.
right? Like, I'm on the brand side,
Right.
and like running a brand, right? A CPG brand, a Genius Juice for 10, 11, almost 11 years. And then you're on the buying side, which is about, what items are hot, what's trending, how to present them, what's the best way to give, send samples. We've talked about that one many, many, many times, like not sending on Fridays, not sending perishable on Fridays, all that stuff. So I think that was the magic that we still have today, Wade, in this bromance, just making joke, bromance, that I'm from that side, you're from that side, and together people really take away and learn a lot. And the only other thing I'll say is a thank we say this all the time to each other on the phone or text, but thank you for being who you are. A true friend. I consider you a friend first, and then a colleague, podcast co-host, all these other things. End of the day, I really value our friendship and what we really forged over the last few years and getting to know each other. So,
Uh,
thank you, Wade.
that goes without saying, Alex. Thank you as well. And I'd say, friend, obviously, and almost family at this point. What's interesting, I was just going to say before you went off on your little spiel there is that, and I don't mean that. I don't mean that to be negative.
No, no,
Was that I can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I can probably count on one hand how many times we've met in person.
right,
I mean,
right.
truthfully, it's probably one hand. I mean, most of it has been this, and it's kind of like in a again, all positive. It's kind of like the Odd Couple, right? I mean, it's just like you said, one side versus the other. Different backgrounds and whatnot, but the chemistry works, and it's obviously we're still here 3 years later, and it's I think. For those that have been watching or listening, what have you, for extended period of time, I think the feedback I get often is that these are their favorite episodes when it's just you and I.
Mhm.
The guests are great and the extra contact, but going back to when it's just you and I doing what we're doing today is just being real, talking from the heart, and sharing our thoughts and our experiences and things like that are some of the favorite episodes from those that I talk to. And and it's truly exactly what we said from day one: no script, just chat,
Mhm.
in that, I mean, we're on here, there might be a text or two during the week, an email here and there, but more often than not, we're jumping on here 5 minutes before the show starts and just shooting the shit like we are today.
No
And I
preparation
think,
at all.
and that's what, really, to your point, that's where that chemistry is. It's just really organic, no pun intended for the natural foods business, but just getting on here and talking about what's going on. So yeah, it's been, we probably should have just titled this 3-year reflection or what have you, but it's truly been a pleasure. And again, not pulling any punches. Sometimes it's a pain in the ass, just because, this time is fantastic for me. And I know it's kind of in the middle of your workday there, but,
Yeah.
sometimes, over the years when, I mentioned to go someplace on Friday night or go do something, when we were doing it a little bit later, I mean, we've
Mhm.
adjusted, right? We started Friday mornings. moved over to the fresh market. They didn't want me to do this and promote them. So we adjusted. You adjusted. Thank you for doing that, because you
Sure.
certainly didn't have to, but we waited till the end of my workday so that it truly was on my time. And now we're back to, it's in the middle of your workday. It's toward the end of my workday here on the East Coast. But, it's just really been something that has been, I know it's given me a lot, with community, with people, with connections. And I know it has as you as well. And, yeah, it's just been a lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah, we 3 different time slots. Started at 8 a.m., then it went to 2:30. This is Pacific Coast time. It was 8 o'clock, and then 2:30, and then now we're at noon. So it's kind of like the 3 little bears. It was
Right.
early, late, and then
Right.
and then in the middle. And last thing I'll say very quick, again, not one-upping anyone in any case, is go back to the early episodes. It's fun to listen to those, and how we spoke, how we've progressed. But even like to that first episode, like the chemistry, the topics, the goofiness, the quirkiness, the value, all these things, like it was all there from the beginning. We just didn't have the fancy videos, and we were doing it from the laptop mic. So the audio and everything is elevated thanks to our sponsors, right? That we can get this equipment to sound better so you get more value. But yeah, it's cool to go back to like the first 5 or 10 episodes. So if you're on a long road trip or something, transporting product or machinery or whatever, you're going on a trip, check out like 1 through 5. You'll get the vintage effect on that. So
Yeah. Good
yeah.
stuff.
So
Good stuff.
let's one thing I wanted to talk about in kind of in the reflection mode is 2024 before we go into 2025. I was battling whether we talk about 2024 and what we can talk about, but I think on a personal level, I experienced a tremendous burnout in December. And again, we can make a whole episode just about this, and we actually are.
Next week, right?
It is.
I think it's next week.
I think it's next week. Yep. So we're going to have a burnout as expert series, volume 7, all about burnout and how to combat burnout, know the signs of burnout, and what to do to step away from that and get better and step away from the edge of the cliff there. And so we're going to have Ashley Rogers, who is the founder of Spudsy and now the founder of Sprinkles. And of course, your very own Luke Abbott.
Who's that guy? Who's that guy?
CEO of Be Driven. So he'll be on the show because Ashley experienced burnout. I talked to her about it for about an hour. Luke, I mean, his story is definitely public domain, where he passed out somewhere and, they had to carry him. And like he was working that hard where he burned out. So and I think this is a topic that's not discussed enough. A lot of people are going through this. It's tremendously debilitating, I think is the right word for it. It interrupts everything that you're doing. You feel like shit, basically. You can't think straight. You don't feel good. And it's to a point where if someone handed you $1 million, if you're like feeling like I felt, like burned out, can't really do too much, someone hands you $1 million, you won't even be happy. Like that's because your health is so compromised. Drew Henry over at Revival Tea did a post about burnout and how he's combated that. And I talked to him for an hour and a half the other day. He's forming a group to talk about burnout, like an entrepreneurial group on burnout support. So it's a great topic. I was on a Zoom call in mid-November, and I'm still suffering from it, but I've gotten tremendously better. I'm doing things during the day to continually feel better, right? And I think talking about it makes me feel better. Sharing makes me feel better. But still struggling. It's probably going to take half a year to a year to really recover. That's how much burnout can affect your life and your personal life and your professional life. Mid-November, I was on a Zoom call, and it was like the 8th one in a row. Now, the precursor to all this is for everyone who's tuned in and seen on LinkedIn. I lost my father on March 2nd, 2024, suddenly. He was sick for a few months, but he got COVID in November, and we didn't really know the extent of it. We didn't know if he was going to get better or not, but he started getting better in January. He wasn't good in November and December, and so we thought he was getting better on the up and up, and then suddenly took a turn for the worst, and he collapsed on a Saturday afternoon, and I raced over, and it was too late. I wasn't able to even say goodbye. And so that kind of sent me not into a depression, but into what can I do just to keep going and stay active. Because if I just sit down and think about this all day, I'd just be so depressed and sad. And still to this day, cry every day. If anyone's lost a parent, you lose a piece of yourself, and there's no coming back from that. And you're gonna feel that the rest of your life. But every day gets a little easier. Every month, every year gets a little easier. But it's still very hard. Still very hard. And so through the grief, grieving, the crying, not being able to do much, I rose out of that in about a month or two and just did what I knew how to do. Let me just work. Let me dive into work. And so I took on way too much, and I still love what I do and I'm passionate about it. But I was doing consulting since and Genius Juice closed March 1st. So we closed March 1st, lost my dad March 2nd. So that 1-2 punch, devastating. And I went through a traumatic ending of the company. Won't go into details, but it was traumatic for me. 10 years, a lot of money on the line, a lot of blood, sweat, tears. My dad put in money as well. So it was truly heartbreaking at the end of the day. And then supporting my mom, because I'm the kind of the male figure now of the family, supporting my mom, supporting my sister. And my wife is amazing. My sons, like my family's amazing. They helped me get through this and feel so much better. I have a life coach, Dan Carruthers. So I had a lot of support around me, but even with support, very hard. And so I went into work and I was doing I'm still doing it, but crowdfunding consulting. I was taking on many, many clients at once by myself, plus doing sales, plus, wrapping up things with Genius Juice, plus the podcast with the sponsors. So I had 4 things going on at the same time. And I just kind of kept doing, I'm like, I don't feel good, but let me push through this. Let me do cold plunging. Let me go for a run. Let me, it's all superficial shit, right? Like we're smart enough to know we can meditate. We're smart enough to know we can go for a run or relax or get more, but if you're not fixing the foundational issue of the trauma, either with therapy or something like that, or you're just, the other thing you can fix is just not working so much. So I didn't do any of those things. So I could do 100 cold plunges in a day. I would still feel like shit, basically. And so, so when I was not getting better, I just kept pushing harder and harder and harder and working more hours. And like, I want to make more money and help my family and help myself and, help others. And at the end of the day in November, I was on a Zoom call and it was like my 8th call, which you can relate to, just back to back to back to back to back. And
sounds like a light day. Sounds like a light day to me. For me, yeah. Go ahead. Just kidding.
It's good to break it up with some humor for sure. Yeah. So, and I just remember getting vertigo and getting dizzy, and not feeling good. And I'm like, I'm not having a stroke, but this doesn't feel good, right? And just exhaustion, pure exhaustion, nerve, body out of whack. Everything's out of whack. And I was in a room with like 9 or 10 people on I was coaching on crowdfunding, and I had to stop the meeting, which I've never done before. I had to stop and say, I'll be right back. And I literally went to the bathroom and just breathe. I'm like, let me just get through this. It's a big meeting. If it was one person, I could probably cancel it, but this is it was set up 6 months in advance. And so after that, I still continued to work, right? But a little less, and it got worse and worse and worse. And then by early December, I'm like, this is not going to work. And so I stepped away from a couple projects. If I make less money, so be it. That's not the point. Health is wealth. And also with crowdfunding consulting, I'm doing only 1 project a month instead of 3 or 4, which burned me out. I still did a great job, I feel like, on all the campaigns, but I had to work so many hours. So I have faith that I did it right, but it's just, it took a toll on myself. I've also hired a director of marketing for my consulting company for the crowdfunding. And she's amazing. Yeah, Michelle, she is absolutely amazing. And she's taken a lot off my plate. And I'm paying her well to make sure that she's happy and she's doing the work. And she's very hands-off, which is awesome. Like, she just goes to it and does it. Like, that personality is amazing. And it's hard to find those types of people. So now, fast forward, I'll kind of wrap it up and move faster. is I took 2 weeks off. Never taken more than a few days off in many, many, many years. Coming off 10 years running Genius Juice, and the burnout there, the traumatic event of closing Genius, obviously the trauma of losing my father. Never really properly addressed these things, and this taking time to do like nothing and just think. And whether it's journaling, whether it's reflecting, whether it's going for a long 2 hour walk and just thinking and being in those emotions versus pushing them away. And so, we went to Legoland, San Diego. Still felt like shit, by the way. Even doing nothing, because now you're coming down, right? And now you feel everything, right? You're feeling the pain that you've inflicted on your body because you're present now to your body, if that makes sense, because you're just doing nothing, right? You feel everything that you've done in the past. So I'm like, I feel terrible. Like, what's going on? Like, I'm not feeling better. Like, I'm taking time off. This is bullshit. Like, I'm not feeling better. Right around December, Christmas Day or the day after Christmas, I started feeling better after about a week. And I was so happy. I actually cried. I'm like, I feel the best I felt all year. And I'm with family. I'm not doing work. And then we went to Big Bear and, went to a lodge, fireplace, read books, hung out with family, no work, like like 20 minutes a day on the laptop, but no reception up there, very limited reception. And that's what really turned me around. And I feel tremendously better, still not out of the woods. And then I do walks. So I put a regimen in place, 8 hours of sleep, no exception. If I have a meeting in the morning and I don't get my 8 hours, I cancel that meeting. I'm like, I'm going to get my 8 hours. I'm not going to go to sleep late. Hard to do every day, right? There's exceptions to it. We're only human, but being as consistent as possible. And then I go for a walk at least an hour a day. And for whatever reason, I've never liked walking. I like running. I like heart rate type stuff. And I get bored when I walk, but I decided I'm going to put on a podcast, whether it's CPG Vibes or something else, and I'm just going to walk. And I walk for 2 hours in the sun, near the ocean. And that alone was very healing. And then doing Wim Hof in the morning, breathing. And then the last thing I'll say is the mentality, the mental side of not getting upset when something wrong happens or being aware of our own thoughts. So, like, there's a thought, about bothering us. Someone's bothering, someone said something to me or something happened in business, not letting that eat away, right, at me, just letting it go, just saying that's a thought. That's not a fact. That's the mind. I'm going to let that go, because when the mind, when you start thinking about things a lot, what bothers you, it goes from affecting your mind to affecting your body. Now your body starts feeling bad. Like, you can be in a chair, relaxed on a Sunday afternoon with your heart rate low, suddenly start thinking about something that bothered you, your heart rate goes up. Maybe you get a pain. So that's another exercise I'm working on, is how to let go of things more quickly, so that it doesn't turn into a physical problem. So those, along with everything else I mentioned, much better place today, and still have a lot of work to do. And but I'm glad I'm on the right path, and other entrepreneurs are seeing my posts and are getting a lot from it. So that's my update.
Yeah, there's we got to save some of this for next week, Alex. We might have to change the topic next week. Yeah, there's but no, I appreciate you sharing that, and I'll just say that obviously I'm slightly, and I'll use that in parentheses there, or quotes, slightly older than you, and I can relate to a lot of what you're saying, because I'd like to say I'm older and wiser. I don't know that that's necessarily true. I'm definitely older, but both my parents have been gone for some time. My mother's, as I've shared more than once, passed away shortly after my birthday. My father this March will have been gone 17 years. And very similar to you losing your father, the way it happened, as far as having a little bit of an illness and then being gone. So a lot of what you're saying I can relate to. And, I'll just say this, that, this week I've been a little bit lax because it's been very, very unusually cold here in North Carolina. So I haven't been able to get out as I'd like to, but typically that's how I start my mornings every day is a walk. And it's usually a 3.5 mile, it's an hour trail by our house here that I do every morning. Same thing. I put the podcast on, and for me, it kind of gets me centered and ready to start my day. And as the time zone, or I'm sorry, not time zone, the daylight savings comes back, I'll probably switch to doing one in the morning and one in the evening. But it's it's very important. And I think, I've always held myself to very high standards with emails, with responses and things like that. So oftentimes my last email is going out right before I go to bed at night. I'm checking my email one last time. I'm sending out an email, and it's the first thing I do in the morning is pick up that phone and look at, and sometimes you have to remove yourself from that mindset and quit being so hard on yourself, and really making sure that you're taking care of yourself. And it sounds like it's taken some time, but you've done that, and I'm happy for you. And it's good that you're in a good place. We're in a new year. We've got a lot lined up for CPG Vibes. If anybody tuned in today expecting to hear a lot of typical CPG talk, we haven't done that, but I assure you, as the weeks go, and I'm not apologizing for that, by the way. I'm just saying a fact. But as we look at what's ahead for this year, Alex, I know there's a lot of exciting things you're working on. There's a lot of exciting things I'm working on, and at V Driven, and we've got trade show season coming up. So I'm sure we're going to be talking about trade shows. We're going to be talking about so many different things coming up. And I'm excited for that. We've got a sponsor here that we're going to be bringing on here shortly, and so we're going to turn a little bit of a positive spin to what's been a very, very low key, celebratory, but yet still down to the earth, heartfelt episode, and talk to our sponsors and get ramped up for what we have ahead.
Absolutely. And that, a mention again for our episode next week before we bring on our sponsors here, Melting Forest, is we have an expert series, Volume 7, all about burnout, with Ashley Rogers and with that guy, Luke Abbott. So with V Driven. So it's going to be a great episode. And then we have a master series coming up on the 31st with Jeff Church, Max Dichter, and John Foraker, which is a bringing the band back together. And then we have an Outside the Tank again on February 14th, Valentine's Day. We don't have all the brands yet, so if you'd like to apply, email cpgvibes100@gmail.com to apply for Outside the Tank. And then we have expert series women in CPG, and to just go. And we have a Canadian show, which is going to be on 4/11, right? Information 4/11, so Canadian show. The last thing I'll say is if you have a booth in the North Hall and you'd like us to host, we were with Eye Level Brands last year. The year before that, Startup CPG. With Eye Level Brands, they got acquired. So it's uncertain whether we can get a booth. And congratulations, David Abraham. Uncertain if we can get a booth there this year. But if you have a booth available in the North Hall, preferably on the first floor, but we're not choosy, please let us know. And by us having our booth there, we're going to have it on Friday sometime in the afternoon, maybe a 2-hour show, maybe a 3-hour show, but we'll promote it and get a lot more people and buzz over to your booth. So please email us cpgvibes100@gmail.com if you'd like to host us at your booth for Expo West 2025. Our sponsor. So
and this would be when Alex freezes, right when we had the sponsor. So I'm gonna do this and hope that he comes back. So I'm gonna bring on Melting Forest. We've got Sean McDonald and David Martin. Guys, welcome to the show. Thanks for patiently waiting in the background. Tell us all about Melting Forest.
For sure. Appreciate all of that. So I just want to state real quick that yes, it's definitely a somber moment going on right now, and very heartfelt message that you guys are delivering, and really appreciate all of that. And we just want to make sure that everybody's aware too, that we're extending our thoughts, prayers, and vibes, positive vibes, if you will, to everyone being affected right now, not just in California with the fires, but also up and down the East Coast, which is being wreaked havoc with different weather patterns and such. So it's definitely challenging, but we really appreciate you having us on board here on this call. With that, Sean, you want to just give a quick 30-second elevator on the company itself and the brand, and then I can get in and start talking some details related to my role and how we're driving the business.
Yeah, so we've been on the show before. For those who don't know about Melting Forest, we're an adaptogenic energy and de-stress drink utilizing the power of mushrooms heavily. It's in your face. We always, internally joke about it, but it's the 3 Fs. It's fun packaging, it's flavorful, but it's truly functional. We're using clinically studied doses of ingredients in the product, pixie dust, if you will, to really give you an effect, whether it's the energy for that all-day energy, pairing with L-theanine and other nootropics to help limit that crash effect, or in our de-stress side, just to help you relax, start your day relaxed, end your day relaxed, especially with the movement we're seeing, to be determined what's going to happen with labeling on alcohol, but people are realizing some of the hindering, not benefits to alcohol and looking for alternatives and things to help them relax more natural. And that's kind of how we have that upper and downer approach with the line.
Nice. Excellent. And Sean, you are the founder, correct?
Correct. CEO and founder of the company.
Excellent. And so, David, you are I think Alex referred to you as the Chief Revenue Officer. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. Tell us your side of things.
Yeah. So my side of things really is just connecting the dots, whether it be distribution or retail or e-commerce, and assisting with driving revenue. And as with you guys already know, being both on the brand side as well as being on the buy side, it's very challenging to build any kind of brand out there. And one of the most important things is making sure that you're watching your P&L and being very close about your investments. It's paying attention to your cash flow, and it's always dialing for dollars. That's one of the biggest things is if a company is underfunded, it makes it that much more challenging in order to fight against the blue chip behemoths that are basically buying up all the space out there. And even here at Melting Forest, it's interesting. We've had some very nice wins for the brand at retail and at wholesale. However, there are other opportunities that just didn't come through. And Sean and I, we talk about it almost on a daily basis that there's been a paradigm shift within CPG. It's pretty interesting because I've experienced many brands also that even with the proper funding and the right product and the right people behind it, it just doesn't go yet, right? Or you can't get that proof of concept. And that's really what we're focused on here at Melting Forest is, while many brands and many companies would love to approach the country from a shotgun perspective and get their product everywhere right away, I'm a big promoter of making sure that you grow it slowly and you be authentic about where you're going, how you're going, what dollars you're spending, and making sure that you're aligning with all of the right partners that you want to have strategically in order to grow your brand in the most beneficial and profitable way possible. And with that, we really launched a company very heavy within e-commerce, but then once we moved into brick and mortar, we were very strategic about where we went. And we started basically in the natural specialty space, got proof of concept there, moved into grocery. We picked up some proof of concept there. And now it's a matter of starting to expand our reach as we go into 2025. And with that, we're going to start looking at some small store distribution as well as some potential food service out there. But again, we don't want to stretch ourselves too far and too thin. And we want to be very selective about who we partner with.
Awesome. Am I still frozen, or can you guys?
No, you're back. You're back.
Good.
I'm back. It took a couple resets on the personal hotspot here, and I guess the cable company I work with, they didn't have a New Year's resolution about fixing their internet, so that was not one of their resolutions. What's really cool about, I just want to say about the product, the packaging really stands out. Sean, if you haven't shared already, since I missed about a minute or two, how did you come up with this packaging? Why did you, the colors, the look, like what was the ideation around that, and how is that? What's some consumer feedback on your packaging?
Yeah, a lot of it came from my background in my other company, my CBD living company, and we're heavily in smoke shops to this day. That kind of is the bread and butter of the industry. And so originally when we're designing this, we're like, okay, is this going to go in smoke shops? If so, we need to make it vibrant. We know that works. Technology with CBD living kind of got lost with nano and CBD. Consumers didn't understand that. So I still wanted the technological aspect of a product, making it functional, but make it so the consumers grab it off the shelf. And that's kind of where the packaging came. Okay, what are we? Well, we're a mushroom energy. We're a mushroom de-stress. Cover it in mushrooms. Even showing it to packaging experts, they're all like, do ask Susie, throw it to the public. Let's take 6 months to launch. And I said, no, let's make it fun, functional, and throw it in people's face. And it's working. People are gravitating to it on the shelf, picking it up, learning more about it. realizing it's more than just fun branding. And that's what the idea was. Still have the science side to it, making it functional, but really just, wow, what is this?
Right. And one thing I'll mention, it's really well said, Sean, is I think the ultimate strategy, right, in beverage or food, to CPG in general, is the packaging brings them in, and the efficacy and the product itself and the taste keeps them there, right?
Yeah.
And I think you're hitting both.
Yeah,
you're hitting both those really, really, really well. The two lines, I know and by the way, we're going to be giving away a mixed case of Melting Forest De-Stress and Energy, along with the Mushroom Instant Coffee. So make sure to stay tuned till the end of the episode. We'll do a trivia question, and you can win that from they're generously giving that away as a prize from Melting Forest. So Energy versus De-Stress. Which one performs better? Is one growing and one shrinking? Is it the same? Tell us what's kind of the breakdown of that.
David, I know you could allude to this more, but it's pretty on par with each other. And we keep running the numbers in our head. We're like, oh, De-Stress is doing that much better. But there still is that energy drink consumer that is still swapping away from the traditional, looking for a natural, better approach. So as much as I always like to say, oh, it seems like De-Stress is doing so much stronger, when we look at the numbers as a whole across not just, specialty, but we go to grocery, it seems in specialty, you're seeing De-Stress be top by maybe a 10% over the other. And in energy, it kind of flips, and in grocery, it flips, and energy's doing stronger. So when you blend them, you're pretty much on par. And I think it's just a matter of grocery consumers. It's a bit of a different customer that's just used to traditional energy and trying to figure out what De-Stress is and what the mushrooms are, as opposed to seeing mushroom energy and having caffeine and going, okay, well, we're used to that. Let me grab it.
Yeah.
So I want to ask real quick, because we alluded to this, and I know we're tight on time, but we talked about 2025. Guys, where you're at right now, and as you look ahead at your roadmap for 2025, talk to us as quickly, with the time we have left. What about your trade show strategy this year? Where are you going? What are your plans? What are you hoping to achieve? Kind of, and I don't know, Sean, if that's for you, or David, if that's for you, but talk to us a little bit about what that looks like for Melting Forest in 2025.
Yeah, I'll jump in there. So from a corporate brand strategy perspective, we are aligning with 3 different shows this year, and that is going to be Expo West. So we will be there. We do have a booth in the basement, which we're super stoked to have. I mean, we know that that's basically the mosh pit of CPG. So you can expect to see us at Expo West. We have signed up for Newtopia again as well in Denver, and then we will also be expoing at NACS this year as well in the back half of the year. In addition to that, we're very big supporters of our wholesalers. So that being said, we will be at both of the KE shows this year, the one upcoming in Phoenix as well as the one in Chicago. We'll be at both of the CNS wholesale shows. Those are both held in Reno. And then we did sign up for 3 of the UNFI shows. We've got San Diego upcoming, followed by Orlando, and then Vegas during the summer months. So with that, we feel that we're going to be pretty far stretched. It is a little bit of a costly endeavor to attend these shows. However, especially on the wholesale side, these are buying shows. And that's where a lot of brands that go through these wholesalers and broadlines, that's where we pick up a lot of our new distribution or increased revenue and volume plays. So we're really excited about that.
Great. No, that's great. It sounds like the team is going to be very busy in the coming weeks and months. So great. And Robert mentions obviously CHFA, and I think are you going to be there as well?
You know what? That's a very good question. We may just very well be at the CHFA. I guess we got to ping Robert and see what that looks like.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
Robert's our Canadian partner up there, so we're working together with them.
There you go.
Awesome.
Got to get my passport updated, I guess.
Yeah, you're in good hands there. Good stuff. Okay, cool. Well, we're gonna give out our prize here so we can end the show on time here. So again, this episode is being sponsored by Melting Forest, and they have 2 different lines. They have the De-Stress and the Energy, plus the instant coffee, and they have other gummies and many other products. You can go to Melting Forest, just like how it sounds, meltingforest.com to buy product and find out more about what they do. They're going to be giving away a mixed case of Melting Forest De-Stress and a mixed case of the Melting Forest. So there's going to be 2 cases, actually. One case is the De-Stress. The other case is the Energy line and a Mushroom Instant Coffee. That way they can try all the flavors and functions that they offer. Okay, so question, Wade, do you have anything in the back pocket at all? I know it was a very detailed, great episode, so we weren't thinking about questions.
You know, had I, and it's too late for this, because we definitely didn't mention it. What we should have done, Alex, is who was our first guest? Because I honestly don't know, so I'm gonna have to go back and look at the old and see. But anyways, no, I don't have one ready. So if you do, go for it.
Okay, well, let's do this. Who was our first guest?
Kenny Hausman. Looks like Kenny Hausman was the first one to make a comment
on today's show.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm actually looking up our very first episode of CPG Vibes.
Oh, first episode.
I know. I found it because if you just scroll on Apple Podcasts, you'll find it. So
let's scrolling.
I was going to say I already found it. So let's see. Let's see who's quick. Let's see who's quick. And here's a couple hints. This person has also been a co-host. This person has also appeared on the show multiple times. So yeah,
he's been in your house. He's been in your house.
Yes, he's been to my place. Let's see. Well, we just gave away the gender. Oh, Kenny got it. Kenny got it.
Deservingly so, right? Kenny knows. Kenny's awesome. So, and he got the prize. He deserves it. So, okay. So, email cpgvibes100@gmail.com, and we will connect you with the Melting Forest team to get product out to you. And so David, Sean, thank you so much for sponsoring the show. You know, and we're kind of simplifying our format where we don't have like 3 sponsors anymore. It's just going to be one. The spotlight is going to be on me with the back wall and all that, but you guys are on there anyway. But we're really going to be focusing on just one sponsor on the episode to make sure you guys get more attention. And before it was, I think, not as impactful. Still good, but now it's even more impactful. So thank you guys for sponsoring. Thanks for sending out this prize to our winner here, Kenny Hausman. And of course, thank you for having the back wall as well. And also, Sean, I mean, both you've sent us product as well a few times that we really enjoyed and spared no expense on that for us. And so thank you again for hooking us up with products.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having us. Glad to be part of it.
Cool. All right. So we'll see you next week, and same time, same place, and hopefully my screen doesn't freeze next week. I got to talk to my cable provider for that. But it's going to be January 17th. So we're and it's going to be sponsored by Robert Kogan with Powerful Energy, the man of the hour, it seems. And it's going to be Expert Series Volume 7. Email coming in right there about burnout. Ashley Rogers and Luke Abbott will be joining us. So until then, everyone take good care. Wade, love you, buddy.
Love you, buddy. Stay safe out there, Alex.
Thank you so much. I'll keep everyone posted by LinkedIn and basically at this point, evacuating until the air quality gets better. But we wish everyone just in LA, in the area, just be safe and hang in there. That's all we can really say right now. And we'll get through this together. All right. Well, take care, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
Thanks, everyone.